Hey, and welcome to Underhalls, but not as you may recognize it. So as you can see, this is the beta version of Underhalls. This is from July 1994, and there's a lot of different textures here. The most interesting thing in this room though is those bars we just opened. So those actually made it into the retail version of Doom, but then actually got removed, because I actually remember those from when I was a kid. Yeah, I've been playing Doom for that long. But you can see this level has quite a few differences, including chain gunners and a Revenant, believe it or not. Now, personally, I think the Revenant's only there because it was here like for testing purposes. I don't believe they would have actually put a Revenant in the second level, but nonetheless, interesting little challenge on this map. You can see that the texture work is kind of here for some parts and it's kind of been changed rapidly for other parts. The interesting thing as well is the Super Shotgun had a completely different texture, but because I'm using the Doom 2 WOD, it's going to override it. It's the null one. But basically, imagine a large normal shotgun with two barrels on the end. That's basically what the beta Super Shotgun ended up looking like. But you can see, functionally, this level is pretty complete. There's not really that much to say about what the difference is, honestly, because other than the textures, there's really not that much different up to now. So we're going to go and get that blue armor because it's pretty much, you know, a necessity on this level. You know, you can't just leave a blue armor lying around, can you? So something I hate here, these bars opening up individually. Oh, God, I hate it. I'm so glad that that's fixed by the final build of this level. But as you can see, there's quite a few different textures that have been left around. The roof texture in particular is very different. There's also a Hell Knight down here, I think. Yeah, there is a Hell Knight down here, which is just insane. But other than that, like, this level pretty much makes it almost one-to-one in terms of layout to the final version of this level. There's nothing too radical that's been changed from what we can see here. And that's good. And as you can see, there's no shotgunners behind the exit, so no nasty little surprise for players to walk into there. I mean, other than the texture work, there really wasn't that much to say about this one. The Revenant and the Chain Gunners were probably just there as placeholders. I can't imagine they were ever intended to be put into the game that early. Revenant in particular, although who knows, you know, id Software did what id Software did. Let's dive into the version of the level that you may know and love. This is the... So as you can see, like, they get rid of the computer's textures from this room, and this is one of the later Doom 2 WODs, so the bars are gone here. It's the interesting thing about those bars, like I said, is that they kind of disappeared after the game had released. So once the game had started being updated, they were just gone. But as you can see, in terms of layout, like, this is almost identical to what we saw in the beta level. Even the Super Shotgun's still here. But what that means here is that we've got a pretty easy ride here. Fun fact, when we were kids and we first played Doom, we actually got stuck here for like an hour or two because we didn't understand that you had to run over that gap, because in Doom 1, like, there's no real moments where you have to run to get, you know, to get anything essential. I think this is the first point where, like, you have to run. So you have to be able to use the shift button, and it took us a while to actually figure that one out. So that's a fun little story. These monster closets are the same. Now, if you're playing on the original Xbox version, where we were just then inside that monster closet, there's a secret exit. I don't think I'm going to be covering that level again, because that level was awful. All the bars open up together. Hallelujah. So this guy here, fun story about him. id Software actually moved the levels on the map grid, so they were actually moved over. And when that happened, it created a state where a lot of the shotgunners and enemies ended up inside of the walls. And that one shotgunner is actually a fallout from that, because he was never actually moved back out of the wall properly. So you can tell which version of Doom 2 you're playing by if that enemy is actually stuck in the wall or not. And as you can see here, all these guys are behind the exits, and that's Underhalls. Honestly, in my opinion, Underhalls is I'd say slightly below average level. It's okay for deathmatch. Great. I mean, it's encapsulated. It's great. It's spherical, so it's not that difficult to get lost in it. But for me personally, I've just never been a fan of Underhalls, and even on PS1, like, I'm just not won over by this level. I think when you compare this to Nuclear Plant, which was E1M2, which was the follow-up to the iconic hangar, like, this just doesn't even hold a candle to it. This isn't even like a very long level, although you can see this is derived from a later build of Doom 2. You can see the shotgunner behind the red doors, the red bars there. I mean, I guess it looks nicer with the cold lighting, but I just think this is a very, very, very forgettable level. I think it's one of those levels that when you play it for the first time, it's a bit exciting because you get to this part and you see all these hit scanners shooting at you, and it's like, oh, this is going to be a good shootout. But once you've done it once or twice, it kind of loses its sparkle. Today, especially, I don't think it helps as well that that's like the most generic looking building imaginable. There's no, you're basically just shooting through windows at shotgunners. But of course, like, this trap here opens up. This is where all these shotgunners come wandering down from. We head inside here. So they've made this room a bit wider, it looks like, on this version, which I guess that's just to make it easy for the console players to not kind of bump into the walls. But here is the super shotgun. So this is the first time you can get this in a normal level. You can actually get this in the PS1 version of Ultimate Doom if you go to the marshes, which weirdly has the Doom 2 sky texture and has a super shotgun on it, but is a Doom 1 level. So discuss. But yeah, this trap's exactly the same. There's nothing really cut from this level from what I can remember. It is very much still a case of they just prettied this up for the PS1 version of this. We'll grab the armor, head around. I think honestly, if you were to ask me, I think that this version's probably the nicest looking in terms of like lighting and such, but that's just because of the lighting. It's very underwhelming design in terms of like the textures used. If that's just my opinion. Oh, that shotgun is actually out of the wall there, so they actually fixed the thing that its software broke. Interesting. So we'll head down here, shoot the barrels because it's easier to let them all die with the barrels. Grab the blue key. We're gonna head over here. I mean, once you grab the super shotgun, this level becomes so easy because the super shotgun just chews through all these low level enemies. Like, they're not that big a threat once you've got your hands on the super shotgun. But it's clear to see that from the beta level to these two versions of the level, the level was pretty much complete well before the game released. There wasn't really any major modifications made. The only thing that really got changed was the texture work, and to be honest, like, I kind of think it's ugly in all three. So, you know, I'm not a huge fan of Underhalls, so even in the PS1 version, I kind of have to say it's kind of just like dressing a rat up for me. But, you know, I know people like it. I know it's got fans out there, and for multiplayer, it's great fun. So it has its upsides, but for me personally, as a second level in a Doom game, it doesn't do it for me. Let me know what you think of this level. Do you like it? Do you hate it?